2040 is the next Phoenix phenomenon, and people don't really need to fear, especially the Western world. It's we have a 25% attrition, which means there's 75% of the people will survive in 2040.
And that's worldwide, correct?
Yes. Now, what Phoenix is really going to do is infrastructure collapse. All right. Now, 25% of the world's population is terrible. That's terrible loss of life. But in the Western world, out of that 25%, maybe only 5% will be there. The greater number, 20% of that is about 80% of all the loss of life is going to be in the East, China, Central Asia, stuff like that. But the Western world's not going to get it until 6.5 years later. Nostradamus is very clear about that. So is the Revelation record, the trumpet records. But 2040 is going to bring, more than it's going to bring death, it's actually going to bring change, a huge change. The human avatar is intrinsically connected and coded in accordance to the biosphere that it occupies. This is the value of knowing about what's about to happen. I believe the elite have a really good idea about what changes are going to happen in the human body. I believe they know way more. They're way more steps ahead than we are. When the vapor canopy returns, and it will return quickly, when the vapor canopy returns in 2040 by the Phoenix phenomenon, it's going to change humans. Humans are going to have new abilities. Humans are going to, we're going to be able to do more with the avatars that we have. It will also be much harder to die. You'll really, really, really have to work to kill somebody or to kill yourself. So yeah, under vapor canopy conditions, everything is heightened healing. Now, at the same time, the revelation is very clear. 1/3 of the sun, 1/3 of the moon, 1/3 of the stars, 1/3 of the day, 1/3 of the night, every bit of it is reduced by 1/3, leaving 66.6% to be perceived by those who survive. So we have a fundamentally different world. Second Esdras goes into detail in different prophetic passages about what's going to happen, changes in the human body, changes in babies that are born. Yeah, everything is quickened. Everything is quickened. A baby's out walking and talking within 3 months. It's crazy. The prophecies are in Second Esdras. So 2040 is bringing a lot of change. The death is mostly in the East. In the West, it's all infrastructure collapse and total change in the biosphere, making all solar technology obsolete, making all wind turbine technology absolutely obsolete. Yeah, power structures are going to turn to
surfing obsolete too, which I'm very sad about. Surfing is going to just disappear. Surfing.
What is?
Surfing.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're going to have
waves.
It's going to be a more stagnant world. We're going to have all kinds. The salinity in the seas are going to change. It's not just going to be humans changing. Animals will change. Marine life will change. Insects will change. Ambient radiation from hundreds of volcanoes. Phoenix always causes volcanoes. This time it's going to cause a lot. But the ambient radiation release, I know you've watched my videos, the scientists that grew 2 inches just from exposure. Imagine if this is going on all around the world and the vapor canopy appears and it's intact, trapping that ambient radiation with increased atmospheric pressure, with a oxygen dense air. I mean, the ability, imagine having the ability to just calm yourself, slowly breathe, and then take one big breath and then dive 70, 80, and 90 feet below a surface and go get deep clams, deep shells, and be able to see down there and hold your breath for 9 minutes. The changes that are going to come in the human body are real. These are the subject matter to many traditions and legends from the ancient world about when the vapor canopy existed back then, as in the days of Noah.
Yes.
So we're returning back to the days of Noah. That's what the apocalypse is about. But 2040 is the return of Phoenix. It will be seen by all, but it's going to wreck shop in Asia. The Western world's basically getting a pass. Only coastal cities are really going to be ruined.
Because of my work with DNA and healing, a lot of people have asked me about what happens with the human body entering the vapor canopy, going back into the vapor canopy as opposed to coming out of the vapor canopy, right? And so what happens with an existing human being, not a baby born under the vapor canopy, but a normal person? And I've heard you say that, that DNA is kind of fixed or whatever. Although I would disagree with that. I think epigenetically we have genetic changes all the time, every day. They're constantly hopping around. And
Well, I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
and you've got the example of the scientist back was it Madagascar, who grew a couple of inches, which is just insane because they were older men, and they came back home and they had they were larger. So that suggests also that if you get a full vapor canopy, full ambient radiation, all of that trapped in and beaming back down, you could actually see very significant changes even in your current body prior to another line of children being born.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that there's going to be changes in everybody, but the greatest changes are going to be those in who are born. I'm 100% I agree. But coming out of the vapor canopy in 2239 BC, hey, it created a really unique situation. That unique situation is the subject matter of the most incredible stories in the ancient world. And that is when the day after the sky fell, there was in the world titans. And those titans, when they had children, they gave birth to giants, which were much smaller than them. And that's totally weird. Then the giants, their generation had children, and they gave birth to normal-sized humans, which is again totally weird. What happened in the ancient world after the day the sky fell that created that phenomenon that within 1 century we had many, many tens of thousands of normal-sized humans, hundreds of giants, and maybe 100 titans, all in the same generation, all living at the exact same time. This is the subject matter of the stories of Kronos and the stories of Hesiod and Sanchuniathon and Diodorus Siculus. They recorded all this time period, and it's fascinating. But it shows you if this is what happened when the vapor canopy departed, then just the opposite will occur when it returns.
Yes.